Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll see how U.S. beef exports are doing and have an update on NCBA trade policy priorities. Plus, details on a valuable dewormer product that can help you get the most production from every animal in your herd.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello, and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kate Maher. The COVID-19 pandemic had an impact on a lot of things, including U.S. beef exports. But how are things shaping up so far in 2021? Here's a closer look at the latest numbers.
The latest report from the USDA shows U.S. beef exports totaled just over 105,000 metric tons in January, down 2% from a year ago. The value of those sales was down 3%, totaling $653 million for the month. The decline was mainly due to lower shipments of beef variety meats, with muscle cuts holding mostly steady. Bright spots so far this year include South Korea, where the volume and value of U.S. beef exports are both up 20% or more, totaling over $158 million for the month of January. And U.S. beef sales to China are growing steadily, reaching a value of more than $58 million in January. That's about 8 times higher than year-earlier levels. For producers, U.S. beef exports equated to added value of over $311 per head of fed slaughter. That's up 3% from a year ago, and exports took over 13% of total U.S. beef production. The top foreign markets for U.S. beef by volume are Japan, South Korea, and Mexico.
So what are some of the factors that could impact U.S. beef export demand for the rest of the year? Kent Backus, NCBA's Senior Director of International Trade and Market Access, has more in this week's Beltway Beef Spotlight.
Well, 2020 was a great year for us in spite of COVID, and most of that was due to strong foreign demand in the Asian markets. At the end of 2020, our export sales totaled $7.6 billion, with our top markets continuing to be Japan, Korea, Canada, Mexico, and of course, China. That strong Asian demand is complemented now because we have trade agreements that removed a lot of tariff and non-tariff barriers that really prevented us from capitalizing on demand in those key markets. First and foremost, Japan. Because of the U.S.-Japan deal, we now are on a level playing field. We have the same tariff rate as all of our competitors, and that really puts us at an advantage because that high-quality beef is something that Japanese consumers really want more of. We're also excited to see the China trade deal implemented, and because of that, we saw the removal of the hormone ban and removing the BSE restriction that also prevented us from capitalizing on a fifth of the world's population. So now it looks like 2021 is going to be a good year for us. There are a couple things that we're paying attention to, though, and it's something that we may have to address. And first and foremost on that would be the fact that we did such a great job selling beef in Japan that we actually triggered a safeguard tariff. So unfortunately, through mid-April, our tariff rate will kick back up to 38.5%. And then after that, we'll drop back down to 25%. And this is something that the U.S. government is going to work very closely with the Japanese government to try to resolve in the near future. But also, we're going to pay attention to the weather. The drought in Australia has made us much more competitive because of just the restrictions and the limitations that they have in their cattle supply. So we're now more competitive in Asia and across other markets. At the same time, as the U.S. economy recovers, we still have a very strong U.S. dollar. And that means that our exports overall are going to be less competitive. So there's a little good, a little bad in all of that. But it means that the U.S. economy is strong and that we're going to continue to see a lot of growth. Another big issue that we're watching is just some of the continued delays we're seeing at ports. It's important that we're able to get our products out of these ports, especially on the West Coast of the United States, so that we can meet a lot of that Asia demand. But 2021 looks to be a good year for us. And because we have these trade deals in place, I think that we're going to be in a much better position to capitalize on that strong consumer demand.
As you just heard, trade continues to be a priority for NCBA. Here to talk more about this topic is Don Schiefelbein, NCBA's president-elect. Don, U.S. beef exports seem to be strong year after year, so why does trade continue to be a top issue of concern for NCBA and cattle producers?
Well, Kate, ultimately our goal is to grow dollars in the hands of beef producers. And when you look at the market share that exports provide or the world provides, you expand yourself to a lot of consumers. So it's important that we expand our trade to every individual across the globe who wants to purchase healthy, great tasting U.S. beef.
So do producers understand how much value exports really add to the beef industry?
Well, I don't know if they know it entirely, but I think they're getting a better handle on it each and every year. I think we've heard this number, Kate, that exports add about $350 to every live fed animal. And that's a number I think that resonates with producers. And they begin to understand, boy, $350 is an important element if we're going to be successful in the beef business. And I think it's also equally important that if you look at not just the gross dollars, but what products they buy with that $350, when you talk about the variety meats like tripe and tongue, it's kind of a double importance that we have that trade market strong.
Then how important were exports to the industry last year with the problems caused by COVID?
Well, as you can imagine, huge. Whenever you lose 40% of your market overnight due to the loss of restaurants, hotels, etc., anywhere you can get market share is extremely important. And it was very, very important that exports kind of filled in a big chunk of that market that we needed so desperately when COVID was gripped upon us.
So Don, can you tell us what are some of the other key policy issues NCBA is focusing on this year?
Well, I think first and foremost in a lot of producers' mind is we're right in the middle of price discovery, making sure that the price discovery system works and that cattle producers are getting their fair share of the price of fed cattle when it gets marketed through. Other items, of course, you're probably reading about are transportation and, of course, endangered species, specifically in my part of the world, how we're managing wolf management. So there's lots of issues, Kate, that we have our fingers in across lots of various areas. So it's important that we continue to stay focused on all those areas.
So finally, why is a strong membership base important for NCBA's work in DC?
And this is probably maybe the best kept secret out there, Kate, is that most people think that my checkoff dollars will cover me for all those issues we just discussed. The truth of the matter is the use of checkoff dollars is very narrow. So when you get into almost every other topic, specifically policy topics like fake meat and whether or not we should have COVID relief payments paid to farmers, that all has to come from dues paying dollars or basically membership dollars. So if you look at the important things that or we are looking out at for in Washington, D.C., all of those items are being benefited from the use of membership dollars, Kate.
Thanks, Don. Now, if you'd like to stay up to date on all the key issues and events from Washington, D.C., become a member of NCBA. When you join, you'll get the Beltway Beef newsletter emailed directly to you every week with the latest news from Washington, D.C. and insights from the NCBA staff who work every day on Capitol Hill on your behalf. To join, just call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll tell you about a valuable product that can protect your herd from internal parasites. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Join Maddox Cattle Company for their Maternalizer bred cow sale on Wednesday, April 14th at Ogallala Livestock Auction. Selling over 625 head, including 520 5 to 7-year-old cows and 110 first calf heifers. Also offering 15 elite 2-year-old bulls ready to go to work. Maddox Cattle Company Maternalizer composite females emphasize maternal predictability and heterosis. The females are designed to graze year-round with minimal inputs. Don't miss the Maddox Cattle Company Maternalizer bred cow sale on April 14th. For a video of sale offerings and more, visit MaddoxCattleCompany.com.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll have access to key policy updates and insights from Beltway Beef. It's the best way to hear directly from NCBA's DC team. Beltway Beef provides valuable policy information, and it's free for NCBA members. Stay in touch with Beltway Beef. Join now at ncba.org.
You have an upcoming production sale to advertise? Then contact the Cattlemen to Cattlemen marketing team or your breed association to learn more.
Cow-calf operators recognize the value of a regular deworming program to avoid the damage internal parasites can cause in their herds. However, Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Brad Bola tells us not all may appreciate the benefits of dung beetles to their overall pasture management and sustainability efforts.
What do dung beetles have to do with deworming cattle? Monty Tucker, owner of the Tucker Cattle Company in Sweetwater, Oklahoma, knows the importance of both a consistent deworming program and a healthy dung beetle population for the benefit of his cattle and his land.
I'm fourth generation here in Sweetwater, Oklahoma. My great-granddad settled and started here in 1917. We're mostly commercial cow-calf, heavily Angus influenced. We retain ownership all the way to the rail on every calf on the farm. Soil health is becoming a bigger issue. My great-granddad probably knew about it, and we probably lost focus on it, but now we're focusing back on it and how healthy soil is healthy grass, which is healthy cattle. And a dung beetle is a natural part of that process.
Dung beetles are one of the most important ecological services in a cattleman's pasture system. The number one function is that they're consuming some of that manure. Those cattle are not going to graze around that area as efficiently as they would if that dung was consumed. It's going to not only consume that manure pat, it's going to take those nutrients from that manure pat down into the soil profile, where it allows both the nutrients and water to get down into the soil profile that allows your grass to grow better.
As a livestock entomologist, along with helping them preserve the viability of their soil, it's part of Dr. Talley's job to help livestock producers realize the most potential from every head in their herd.
Parasites are a major issue for cattle production, and when we think about parasites, it's one of those that can really hit your pocketbook very, very hard. We know through studies that if you were to not apply any parasiticides, then your break-even point on a per-head basis could increase by $20. That's just a break-even point. That's not taking into the losses that can occur when you have large infestations of parasites.
Additionally, an Iowa State University study showed that if producers eliminated dewormers from the beef cattle supply chain, it would cost the industry almost $190 per head produced.
Keeping a good control on parasites, when you retain ownership like I do, we see it into the next system and the next system. If they're parasitic when they go on wheat pasture, they don't perform, they don't come off wheat as heavy. When they don't perform, they don't grade. When they don't grade, it's a lower quality cut of meat, and I don't get paid as much.
Keeping a good balance between managing parasites in cattle and maintaining a healthy dung beetle population becomes an important consideration for producers when selecting a deworming product.
We have all kinds of antiparasiticides that are excreted through the manure, but you just need to make sure they're compatible with dung beetle population. If you think about a product like Sidectin, we know that you have a dewormer that is effective on both internal parasites and external parasites. And the research has shown over and over that you can use a product like Sidectin and still maintain an active dung beetle population.
As a practicing veterinarian, I've used both the injectable and pour-on Sidectin products for years. The injectable product has the advantage of when you inject that, you give the exact dose that that animal needs. To me, the benefit of Cydectin Poron is it's waterproof. It has a purple dye, so you can tell which ones you did. It has a 0 slaughter withdrawal. It lasts 28 days against Australortasia.
Visit with my veterinarian a lot, who consults with a lot of entomologists, and we do a rotational deworming program. One I've landed on that I really like is Cydectin, and Cydectin's important to me because soil health is becoming a bigger issue. A product that's dung beetle friendly is important because I don't want to kill them. I like to see them. It's just a healthy ecosystem.
Along with the right product, the right animal, and the right time are critical elements in a successful parasite control program.
The most parasitized animal on the cow-calf farm or ranch is that newly weaned calf. They're always parasitized, so they're always going to benefit. Most people don't know this, but bulls are more susceptible to parasites than cows, than females. So yearling bulls coming out of pasture, they have to be. That's an absolute. And in fact, I would deworm those bulls again in the spring when I turn them out. From a company standpoint, from Elanco, we want you to be satisfied with the products that you buy. These products work very well. We need you to sit down with your herd health veterinarian and get the timing right, get the right product into the right animals, because that's the critical step.
Dr. Talley and Monty Tucker agree on the importance of pasture management and the role it plays in cattle production and the long-term sustainability of an operation.
When you think about pasture management, it's all about how you are utilizing the resources you have and not overutilizing them.
I love being asked the question of sustainability. I'm proud to say I'm 4th generation. My family's been here 110 years. To me, that definition is sustainable. But we have to work hard to keep it sustainable. And I talk about it all the time. We got to have healthy soil. We got to have a healthy ecosystem that includes all little critters. And that just turns into a healthy pasture situation that turns into healthy, vibrant cattle.
Reporting from Oklahoma, I'm Brad Bulla for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about Cydectin, as well as the benefits of dung beetles, talk with your veterinarian, extension agent, or go to ElancoLivestock.com. Up next on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll tell you about a valuable tool you can use to create a custom biosecurity plan to help prevent a disease outbreak on your operation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here we see the king of the snow beasts, the tractor-powered snowblower at feeding time in its natural habitat. Notice how relentless it is, gorging itself on its morning meal. Learn about the care and feeding of this snow-eating beast and so much more about mastering your patch of the planet at tipsnotebook.com, where how to operate a snowblower is just the tip of the iceberg.
These are the pennies it costs for Alticid IGR protection, making it one of the best values in the market designed specifically for fighting hornflies on pasture. As a supplement, Alticid IGR is part of what you're already doing, and as a feed-through, what your cattle are always doing. Take shelter from the swarm for just 2 to 3 cents per animal per day. That's just $4.50 per animal per season. For hornfly protection that has been performing for over 40 years with no known resistance. Alticid IGR.
If you're connected with the beef cattle business, then you should like the NCBA page on Facebook. The NCBA Facebook page shares photos, news, and valuable information about the beef cattle industry. You can also follow the NCBA Twitter feed at Beef USA. So stay in touch with NCBA on Facebook and Twitter.
A major disease outbreak could be devastating to not only an individual operation, but the entire beef supply chain. So what can you do to help protect your herd? Joining us now with more on this topic is Dr. Julia Herman, beef cattle specialist veterinarian here at NCBA. Dr. Herman, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Kate. This is exciting.
So, biosecurity, are producers really thinking enough about it?
That's a great question. I believe on an everyday basis, cattle producers are likely already doing a number of practices to protect their herd from diseases. BQA emphasizes continuous improvement in the cattle industry, and I think this is one area where we as an industry can really improve, especially with individual biosecurity plans for operations.
What could a disease outbreak mean to the beef supply chain as a whole?
Any type of outbreak can be really devastating to a producer from an animal welfare standpoint and also financially. There are common diseases such as bovine respiratory disease that a lot of producers have already gone through that really negatively impact the long-term productivity of cattle. So, the cattle don't grow as well, they take longer or they take more time and effort to take care of, and so prevention is really the best and most economic practice. This changes drastically when we start talking about a foreign animal disease, such as foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease is not in the U.S., and we really don't want it in the U.S. Because it would have really negative impacts on our economy, our trade impacts, and then also, again, animal welfare. So this is something that is really important for the beef industry to pay attention to.
So producers are already doing a lot to keep these devastating diseases out of the U.S. cow herd, but now there's a new tool that BQA has available to producers to help in this. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Kate. So the Daily Biosecurity Plan for Disease Prevention was created so that cattle producers can customize a biosecurity plan with specific details to their operation. It goes through a number of aspects of the cattle operation, including animal movement, cleaning disinfection practices, how to keep your feed and water safe, and many more topics. This is really it's a great way for producers to collaborate with their veterinarian. They can write down things that they're already doing, but they can also plan ahead for continuous improvement and try to continually improve their plan and make sure that it matches their business model as it progresses also.
So Dr. Herman, in addition to identifying some biosecurity issues in an operation, what else can producers learn from this module?
We have a lot of information in this new module. It goes over our daily biosecurity plan, but also has some extra things. So it's an interactive module with some real world examples that producers can go through. Introduction to infectious disease, looking at different disease transmission routes, and just finding ways to protect your animals and your operation from diseases coming in. We also walk through the daily biosecurity plan step by step, so producers can either start their plan or finish the plan by the time they're done with the online module. And we also introduce foreign animal disease concepts and then the secure beef supply plan as continued learning opportunities. There are a lot of applicable things that anybody can learn from in these modules, from different production types and also different experience levels. So high school students, farm employees, experienced producers, we believe that anyone can really benefit from learning from this module.
Dr. Herman, thank you for all this great information, and most importantly, thank you for the work that you do for beef cattle producers across the U.S.
Thank you, Kate.
If you'd like more information about the Beef Quality Assurance Program, or are interested in the Advanced Education Biosecurity Modules or the Daily Biosecurity Plan, simply visit bqa.org. Five Rivers is the world's largest and perhaps one of the best known cattle feeding operations. Cattlemen to Cattlemen has an inside look at this one-of-a-kind feed yard.
I'm Tanner Pickett. I'm the general manager here at Kuhner Feed Yard for Five Rivers Cattle Feeding. We are located on Highway 34 east of Colorado.
You would be surprised, but Kersey, Colorado is actually quite the vacation destination for cow-calf producers. We happen to be on a path that a lot of people travel, and they enjoy stopping in on a feed yard to learn what happens beyond selling their calves in the spring or the fall and learning about the feed yards.
So our average capacity will vary through the year as far as seasons and flow in cattle, but we'll average about 92,000 head. In the summertime and fall, we'll peak to 100,000 head, and then obviously in the wintertime when conditions get a little tougher, we'll reduce that head count, give cattle a little more space for comfort and conditions. Animal welfare is the core of our business. You know, that's why we're here. We're entrusted with a large inventory of cattle, and it's our responsibility to take care of them. And our main goal is to make sure those cattle are comfortable and stress-free in an environment that they can gain weight efficiently.
This yard and all of our employees are BQA certified. We know that a quality product comes from well cared for animals, and that is one of our top priorities every day, making sure that these animals are handled in a low stress environment, that they are comfortable, and that they are well cared for.
From a feed yard standpoint, we truly do care about BQA and animal handling before they get here. We can really tell the difference from an animal that was raised in a low stress environment, transported properly, and comes off the truck in a stress-free environment here. Those cattle just get started off on the right foot.
Our number one concern is the care and the health and the comfort of these animals, and people are often pleasantly surprised by the quality of care that they get here, how comfortable they are, how quiet they are, how quietly they're handled. We do this because we're passionate and because we care about cattle and we care about making an outstanding product.
So there's a lot that goes on inside the gate of the feed yard. It's a very complex business. So a typical day in the feed yard is receiving cattle. There's somebody there that will unload those cattle and put them in a pen. They'll get processed through the barn, they'll get a lot tagged, they'll get vaccinated, they'll get parasite control both inside and out. Once those cattle are placed in their home pen, they're rode every single day by a pen rider, and each animal is individually evaluated. From a feed standpoint, each pen is fed twice a day, and that's a formulated diet from an on-staff nutritionist that we have here. On average at this feed yard, we'll bring in and ship out about 3,500 a week. And so there's a lot of throughput that happens here. Our shipping times will range anywhere from 4 in the morning to 9 in the morning. And so there's a team that comes in and first we safely evaluate that pen is 100% safe to ship. And then those animals will be transported to the shipping facility, counted, weighed, loaded on trucks, and headed to the plant. Again, animal welfare is the core of our business, and we want to make sure that the product that we kick out the gate is something we stand behind and we truly believe in. And so we evaluate that pen before it ships to make sure everything in there is sound and ready to go to the plant. It is our foremost responsibility to make sure what leaves here is a safe product for the consumer.
As a cattle feeder, we are happy to provide whatever type of beef consumers are looking for. So here at Kuhner, we are the exclusive provider for the Aspen Ridge Natural Beef Program, and that is a value-added program. All of the cattle in this program are third-party verified, so they're non-hormone treated cattle, and they're source and age verified, so we know that they're under 30 months old when they go to the plant. This program is not only natural, it is also export eligible. So these animals have met specifications to be exported to Europe, to China. We affectionately call the program the China program. So that's the number one market that we've targeted and that these cattle are kind of destined for, but they're also heavily used domestically as well. We do pay more for the cattle that go into this program, and that is money that we can pass down to the producers. The biggest reason that we're exporting is to capture extra value on those animals. About 60% of the animal is used here domestically. The other 40% are products that aren't typically used in the United States, so we can capture value on those not only being export eligible, but they fit niche markets overseas as well. Really, any producer who's willing to do the work and take the extra steps can be eligible for the Aspen Ridge Natural Program. There isn't necessarily a head count minimum. We make up pens from producers of all types and sizes from all over the United States.
From a producer standpoint, if you have a buyer who repeatedly comes after your cattle year after year, you're doing something right. You know, what we value is guys who do the right things, who take care of their animals, who seek feedback of what can we do better, and those are the guys that we want to partner with. And so working together, forming those strong relationships, and then staying at the forefront of technology and becoming more efficient every year is the key to the sustainable business.
Cattle feeders really embody sustainability. It is all about efficiency for us. We are looking to not only make the most efficient ration, but to buy and feed the most efficient cattle. That is how we make our money, is being efficient and being sustainable and being able to feed cattle year over year.
To learn more about this impressive feed yard or any of its other locations, visit FiveRiversCattle.com. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll introduce you to another regional winner of the Environmental Stewardship Award. We'll be right back.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
It's time to tune in to Tennessee. That's where the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show will be in 2021. It's the biggest convention just for cattle producers. In Nashville, a city with amazing Southern hospitality that's packed with the best food and great music. You can't miss it. So make plans now for CattleCon 2021 at the Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville, Tennessee. Tune in to convention.ncba.org for more information.
The Environmental Stewardship Award program recognizes the nation's best cattle and livestock operations for their outstanding stewardship practices and conservation achievements. These winners are dedicated to maintaining and improving their lands for future generations. Let's take a look at the Region 2 Award recipient from Mississippi.
As the dawn breaks on a summer day in central Mississippi, cattle are out grazing on Southern Cross Farm. Gary and Nancy Jackson wanted to return to their roots in agriculture, so they started this family cattle operation together.
My husband Gary and I were both raised on small cattle operations, but we started this operation in 2005 with 270 acres and 20 cows to expand to the operation it is today.
We both had the dream of having a cattle operation. We love the environment, the land.
I grew up on this farm. We purchased it when I was 11 years old and bought our first set of cattle. So it's kind of grown with me and I've grown with it.
Southern Cross Farm is the quintessential family farm. You have multi-generations, both my parents, my husband and I, my sister. We're all passionate about the industry, about cattle production, and about the opportunities that it provides for our family to do something together.
Gary leads the Extension Education program at Mississippi State University, and Nancy is a practicing veterinarian. Those skills are valuable as they care for their cattle and their land in a way that models best practices.
I'm a teacher at heart, and so this farm is extremely important to me, not just to produce quality beef, not just to be a great environmental steward, but to be able to use the practices we have here to teach others.
As a veterinarian, I'm really interested in the science behind the cattle raising, the nutrition of the grass, which affects the cattle growth and weight gain, and the different species of grass and the palatability of the grass.
When they bought this property, the land was in poor condition. With years of hard work, the Jacksons have taken steps to restore the health of the land.
You know, the whole landscape has changed. I've been able to see that process go from wooded acres to productive grasslands.
God designed this land that we have here to be a great grass producer. The slope of the land, it's not suited for crops, or it shouldn't be put in crops. The soil type is well suited to grass and a variety of forages. So we're using the cows to help increase the soil health.
First of all, you can work with the cattle themselves to replenish the environment because they're an ecosystem in themselves. You can be an excellent environmental steward and at the same time grow a quality product for the consumer.
We've taken soil samples so that we know what the soil sample says that the land needs. And then cows are wonderful fertilizer applicators if we move them around properly. So we've really tried to utilize the cows to build up the land.
Gary and Nancy here at Southern Cross Farm, they're committed to being here long term, to being viable, to have their ground, their grass, their land viable, to have the wildlife here, to be a partner with their cattle here on the grazing operation.
The Jacksons have added solar-powered electric fencing to help their rotational grazing program. And Nancy keeps a close eye on the health of their pastures, working to maintain plant diversity and controlling harmful weeds.
Weed and brush control is an important part of stewardship because if I have weeds on my property, their certain growth characteristics are either A, toxic to cattle, or they're not going to allow the cattle to graze around them. So in our grazing land, we use herbicides to produce more forage for the cows from that land. It's getting out and looking and paying attention to what's going on the ground.
Over the years, Gary and Nancy have worked with NRCS to partner on new water troughs, as well as heavy use areas, and a variety of projects aimed at protecting their land and water.
We have implemented a number of NRCS programs on our property in terms of stream management zones. We put in cattle crossings and those kind of things that have really improved the bottom line on the beef production that we have, but also it's helped improve the environment.
They never stop going the extra mile. She's always trying to find out what could be something new that she can do out here, what new practices she can adopt, what could she do to keep her streams healthy. She's always looking to see what could she do to be a better steward of the land.
The Jacksons have also set aside nearly 70 acres as food and forage areas for deer and other wildlife, and they actively work to foster pollinator habitat on their pastures. Gary and Nancy aim to manage every aspect of Southern Cross Farm as one healthy ecosystem and to steward the land in a way that results in a sustainable future.
Sustainability is very important to us on Southern Cross Farm because we have a moral obligation to feed people, and we have a moral obligation to have this land still be here for future generations.
You get out what you put in, so we need to be good stewards of the land, make sure we take care of our land so it takes care of our cattle, who in turn take care of us.
I have 2 children, a 6-year-old daughter named Ava and a 4-year-old son named Silas, and they absolutely love being a part of this farm. I hope that this farm is a multi-generation farm for years to come, and that excites me.
My hopes for the future is that this land stays productive and is cared for and is loved in the way that Gary and I have loved it. I do feel that our place is making a difference.
I love this farm, I love this land. I'm going to leave it better than I found it.
To find out more about the Environmental Stewardship Award winners, see photos and videos, and learn how to nominate someone for the award, visit the website environmentalstewardship.org. Agriculture and the beef industry creates and supports millions of jobs every year, many of them in small rural communities. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Brian Baxter has more on a family-owned trailer business in Arkansas that's committed to serving their customers, employees, and community.
In north central Arkansas, Calico Trailers has been building custom stock trailers for over a quarter of a century.
Calico Trailers is a company that was started by my parents in 1983. My husband and I currently run it. We manufacture horse and stock trailers. We also do special built custom trailers of all kinds, kind of a wide variety from industry to agriculture to deer trailers. We employ 75 people on average, and we are the largest employer outside of the school district in Quitman, Arkansas.
Calico Trailers started when Susan's father built his first trailer with a borrowed welder. Today, the company manufactures over 2,000 trailers each year and sells into 4 different countries.
We custom build every trailer for every customer. We start literally from sheet metal, and then we fabricate the trailers here. We have different buildings where we have different processes as far as the actual manufacturing and then the finishing, painting, things like that. We realize that there are a lot of people that have different needs, and so we try to accommodate those types of issues. We have dealers all over the country. We have places from California to Massachusetts, and then we also have places in Canada, Chile, and Australia. We have a website that also has a dealer locator on it for individuals to purchase. When they go to that, it will give them the dealership closest to their area, and so that they have somewhere close for any type of maintenance or pickup and delivery.
Calico has always been committed to giving back to the community and state. The company is a steadfast supporter of Arkansas FFA, building custom trailers for local chapters to use in their fundraising efforts. The Johnsons are proud that their daughter, Brooklyn, became involved in the organization, serving as state secretary for Arkansas FFA.
I decided to run for state office because so many state officers throughout my from 9th grade to 12th grade years had really impacted me. My Uncle Ben and my Aunt Carol had both been state officers, so that really impacted me a lot. And honestly, I just wanted students across the state of Arkansas to love FFA as much as I did and learn from it as much as I did. FFA is important because it grows leaders across our state and across our nation. It really inspires kids on what they want to do with their future and their career. And I think it's so beneficial to any kid, whether you grew up on a farm or you grew up in the city.
FFA is a big organization in our state as well as our geographic area and nationwide. We've always been a big supporter of local FFA chapters. Of course, everyone needs a trailer when you have livestock, so it's something that we enjoy doing, and it's a good way to give back to our community. Calico Trailers builds mini trailers for FFA chapters across Arkansas as well as across the nation. That's something we've always done. We discount our trailers for FFA chapters, hoping to help kids along the way with their livestock.
Calico has actually supported FFA chapters for a very long time. For as long as I can remember, my parents have been building trailers for my FFA chapter and actually repainting them and redoing the finishing on them. It's great to see a familiar face come in the office and get a discount on a quality trailer that they can use, whether it's at their county fair, their state fair, district fair, or even for their mechanics classes or whatever they need it for, really.
Even though Calico Trailers is a nationwide company, they're proud to call Quitman their home, and they continue to support the community that helped their family business grow.
We want Calico to stay in Quitman because we love the community. We were born and raised here, and we don't think there's anywhere better to be. We like to keep local people here. It's great for us to help the community through those types of job opportunities for a lot of local people where they don't have to travel to surrounding areas. And so we love to have those people to come to work for us, and those are also people that are born and raised in this area most of the time. It is important to us to be involved in the community because we're a third generation manufacturing company in this area, and we feel like if we lead the way in helping our community, that a lot of these other smaller industries and smaller businesses in the town will also jump in right behind us and support our local community as well.
Calico means so much to me because I know that my grandparents and my parents both poured their hearts and souls into it and making it what it is. They work tirelessly every single day to build up Calico and let it grow and let it really help out our community. And outside of building trailers, I know my parents do so many things, especially for our school and our community, just to help out.
From Quitman, Arkansas, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about Calico Trailers and find a dealer in your area, go to calicotrailers.com. When we come back, it's time for a visit with our good friend Baxter Black, so stay with us.
Getting to run a family farm is a dream come true. When you can grow good grass, there's opportunity to grow plenty of weeds. We want to use the tools that will help us do a better job. I would like the legacy to be that we took really good care of the land and we truly did it as a passion and we did our very best for the right reasons.
We know you're up before the dawn because the cattle rise before the sun. And you spend long hours in the saddle because the herd isn't always over the next rise. And you care for the land because you know it takes care of your family. And we know you do great work. And it's time to tell that story to the marketplace. IMI Global, is here to help you do just that.
At Leachman Cattle, we're committed to building more profitable cattle. As a third-generation seed stock producer, our family has been in this business for over 80 years. Today, we have the best technology ever to build more profitable cattle. Our dollar profit index is a leader in the industry to help you balance all the traits that drive your bottom line. Give us a call or go to www.leachman to learn more.
They don't call it Death Valley for nothing. And coyotes don't make a good pet. And living out here with the grizz and the deer, pretty much take what you get. And the mountains have shoulders like granite. They're big and they make their own rules. So take what you need, but you better pay heed, 'cause a mountain don't tolerate fools. And the wind is the moan of the prairie that haunts and bedevils the plains, the soul-stealing kind that can fray a man's mind, till only a whimper remains. You can stand in the canyon's cathedral, where water and sky never rest, and know in your bones that the meek on their own will never inherit the West. It's big and it's wild and it's lonesome, where the dream of first blood still survives, and it beckons to those who can bid adios to the comfort of 8 to 5 lives. So come, all you brave caballeros, cinch up and reach down inside till you feel the heat, and then take a deep seat, 'cause the West, boys, she ain't broke to ride.
Climb on her back, if you do your best, 'cause she's gonna put your true grit to the test. For the West, boys, she ain't broke to ride. For the West, boys, she ain't broke to ride.
That certain time in the day when you can take a deep breath, knowing your work is done. That's the feeling Aspen products can create. Cost-effective alternatives to name brands that deliver the same results. Qualaxin is one of them. Use it to prevent and treat respiratory disease in your herd. Then breathe easy. Find them at Animal Health International.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest cattle industry organization, working every day to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen and policy updates from Beltway Beef, plus big discounts from John Deere, Cabela's, and more great partners. Join now. Call 866-233-3872 or sign up online at ncba.org.
you have an upcoming production sale to advertise? Then contact the Cattlemen to Cattlemen marketing team or your breed association to learn more.
Welcome back. Do you want to rewatch an episode of Cattlemen to Cattlemen or catch up on anything you've missed? Then visit our YouTube page. You'll find replays of all our shows filled with educational segments and producer profiles from around the country. So go to youtube.com/Cattlemen to Cattlemen to check us out. We're wrapping up this week's show with legacy photos. These are great shots submitted by our viewers of daily life on the farm or ranch. Let's take a look. Would you like to see your photo on Cattlemen to Cattlemen? You can submit your favorite shots a couple of different ways. Message them to us on the Cattlemen to Cattlemen Facebook page or email them to c2c@beef.org. Send them our way and we'll use them on a future episode. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week, right here on RFD TV.